Hi, Peter. What a privilege to see your face for the first time and to meet you over this Zoom meeting. But thanks so much for taking the time to dive in with me. Before I start, I just want to share with you that your son Anthony contacted me on Monday after I posted a video of Jonty Skinner, and I think you've achieved something that most people aspire to achieve, and that's not that green blazer that you're wearing. It's that your son absolutely adores you. I mean, he said to me, and I'll read from what he said. He said, "Tace, you got to interview my dad. He was something of a freak," but he said it in a nice way. He said he took up swimming at the late in life and trained with Rudy Spoor and quickly rose to become a South African champion in breaststroke and won silver at the Commonwealth Games in 1958 and broke the Commonwealth record. That's coming from your own son. I think that's the biggest accolade any sportsman can get. So
definitely,
let's dive straight in. Tell me, where did it all start? Because I believe you were actually ferrying your sister to swimming lessons in the beginning. At what age was that? And let's start there.
Right. At that stage, when I started, I was 16 years old, and I had a motorbike license, and my dad got me the motorbike basically to take my sister training. And I took her training. You know, she was actually a very good swimmer, and she got to provincial and national honors, and I was very impressed with her, and so I took her training. But you know, after a while, sitting watching them training and swimming, I got a bit bored with this, so you know, I thought, hell, I must get involved myself. So you know, Rudy Spoor was the coach at the Zoo Lake Pool, and he had 2 lanes for his pupils, and then there were a couple of lanes open. And what I did is I got in and I started swimming, and basically just trying to keep up with him. And I actually spoke to Rudy, and I said, you know, I'm quite keen to join you. He wasn't too keen in the beginning, but you know, after I'd sort of swam there a number of times, he could see potential. And you know, then I joined Rudy, and we swam, and I saw what I wanted to do was keep up with the others. And there was quite a few senior swimmers at the time. I was quite young at this stage, 16. And I thought that I've got to try and keep up with these guys, even though they were older. And so it worked quite, you know, it worked quite well. And that's what basically got me going.
Wow. And tell me, your sister, Joan, was her name Joan?
Yeah, my late sister, Joan,
yes.
She was 16 at the time.
Okay.
And she was actually at that stage, she was a provincial and a national champion at that young age. Wow. She was very, very good. And so I was quite honored to, you know, get into the same training squad. And, you know, we became quite well known in the swimming circles. And both of us went to a couple of the nationals to swim together. And in those days, the Curry Cup, which they called, you know, the swimming championships.
Yes.
And we both did very well. We both qualified for the Commonwealth Games. And it's actually the first time a brother and sister swam for South Africa at the same games. That's so incredible. It was quite an achievement for both of us.
And was that reported in the news in such a way? Was swimming a sport that had got a lot of coverage in the local newspapers, or was it?
Not as much as other sports, as athletics and the other sports, but it was gaining momentum. and we sort of became quite well known in the swimming circles.
And tell me, how long was that before the 58 Commonwealth Games? Was that in 56, 55, or when was that?
Well, it started in 56.
Okay. So within
And
2 years, you qualified for the Commonwealth Games from starting. There must have been a bit of history before you were 16. So what got you into swimming? I know the coaching started with Rudy Spoor, but you were obviously quite a competent swimmer at the age of 16 already.
Not really. Basically, I only started swimming when, look, all right, we used to go to the dam on picnics and so forth, and swim in the dam, or that was the amount of swimming we did. But I just had that. Once I saw the other swimmers, and I thought, I can keep up with these guys, and I sort of looked at it as a challenge.
Okay.
And it was surprising because it actually came very quickly to me, and that's what got me involved.
Yeah.
And I just I had confidence in training. I had confidence in my coach, Rudy Spoor, and I looked at my seniors, and I thought, if they can do it, I'll do it. And I was quite young, quite a bit younger.
Yeah.
So it was my ambition just to keep up with these guys, and that's what started it off.
That's incredible. I know later in life, your swimming was actually halted by a rugby injury. So I want to get back to that, but I don't want to jump the gun. Were you at that stage, at the age of 16, playing other sports?
I played rugby, yes.
Okay.
I was at Parktown Boys, and I played rugby and so forth. And but swimming was the main sport at that stage.
That's fantastic to hear, and I'm so happy that you took up swimming. So between 56 taking up swimming and 58 going to the Commonwealth Games, you went to nationals. Quite a short period of time before you qualified for nationals. And was it always breaststroke?
Breaststroke. I was always in breaststroke. Yeah.
Okay, because you were actually part of quite an interesting era of breaststroke when a lot of things happened. I think it was 1952 or something, where the Japanese guy swam. I think out of the 200 meters, he sort of surfaced just before the turns, and then they changed those rules. And then obviously later, many more rules were changed. But you were in part of that. Quite an exciting time for breaststrokers.
Correct. Yes. Actually, what the Japanese swimmer, what he did on a 50-yard pool, he would dive in and swim most of the swimming underwater, most of the length underwater. And I think he surfaced once or twice, and to take a breath and then go down under and carry on swimming. Now, swimming underwater is much faster than swimming on the surface. Yeah. And obviously he achieved times which were quite a lot faster than the times that were set at the Commonwealth Games and the Olympic Games at that stage. And well, the rules were changed. And when we swam, it had changed to that you only, from the start, you were only allowed to do one kick.
Okay.
You dive in the pool, you do one arm pull and one kick underwater. And as you start your second arm pull, your head and body must be above the surface of the water. And that's how it would remain until you come to your the turn, where once you'd turned, you kick off, and then you can once again use one arm pull underwater, one kick, and on the start of your second arm pull, your head has got to be above the surface. wasn't quite as fast as swimming the total, a number of strokes underwater.
Yeah.
But those were the rules.
And I think something that also came in later was you're not allowed to do a butterfly kick, because a lot of guys use the butterfly kick. And I remember I started swimming in 1976, a lot of disqualifications because there was a lot of dispute on the side of the pool whether the guy or the girl did a butterfly kick or not. It was very difficult to actually judge from above the water whether it was. I mean, they didn't have cameras under the water, so I think a lot of illegal kicks happened and people didn't see that, and obviously it helps your time as well. Take me to the Commonwealth Games. How was the team selected? Did they have South African trials? And once the team was selected, how was it announced? Can you still remember brother and sister making the team, besides the fact that you were the first brother and sister pair to go to the Commonwealth Games? It must have been euphoria in the house.
Yes, the trials were actually the national championships. I think that year was held in Durban.
Okay.
And we swam at the national championships. My sister was a South African women's breaststroke champion.
Okay.
And at that stage, I held the SA record for South African men in 220 breaststroke. And the national champs were the trials for the Commonwealth Games.
Okay. And you obviously won your finals.
Yes. And I mean, we both won our finals, and in a qualifying time. So we were selected, and for the Commonwealth Games.
That is so amazing. And taking you to the Commonwealth Games, you were competing against guys who had just been to the Olympics or were building up to the 1960 Olympics. Tell me about your main rival, the Australian.
Right. Okay. Basically, my main rival was Terry Gathercole from Australia. He'd previously, he was an Olympic champion from the previous Olympic Games.
Okay.
And he held the world record.
Okay.
And at the, in our heats at the Commonwealth Games, I swam and I set a time which was a Commonwealth record in my heat.
Fantastic.
And I won my heat, and then he swam in another heat. He also broke the record. He actually broke my record.
Okay.
He was a bit faster than me. And so automatically, I mean, both of us were in the final. And we met in the final, and he did I can't remember his exact time, but he beat me, and I was very close. In second place, he won the gold medal, and I won the silver medal. And
did you know the moment you touched that you were second, or was it? Did you not know exactly your position, or were you quite comfortable?
No. In the final, he was having the fastest time. Normally goes to a swimmer in lane 4.
Yes.
And I was, the second fastest in lane 3. So, we were swimming together, so I could see. And although I was only 18 at the games, and Terry was 23.
5 years makes a big difference. There's a lot of power in a 23-year-old.
Correct.
That must have been so exciting, at the age of 18 to, first of all, get on a plane, go to Cardiff. I believe the pool was purposely built for the Commonwealth Games.
Correct.
Or the Empire Games. I don't know, what was it called? Empire Games or the Empire and Commonwealth Games?
No, the British, it was the 6th British and Empire Commonwealth Games.
Okay. It's quite a mouthful.
That was the full title, yes.
Yeah. And I believe you guys were the last South Africans to go, because shortly after that we were sort of kicked out of all international competition. And I think it was
Correct.
36 years until a South African team would partake in the Commonwealth Games again.
That is correct. In fact, the 1958 Commonwealth Games was the last games, Commonwealth Games, that South Africa could partake in. And then, pardon me, the Rome Olympics was the last Olympics that South Africa could partake in.
Was that 1960?
Now, 1960 was the Rome Olympics.
Yes.
Correct.
Did we send a team of swimmers to that Olympics?
Yes. Okay. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had a problem, due to playing rugby. I had a cartilage removed from my knee, and I never really got back into swimming after that operation. And so basically, that cost me the Rome Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, you would have been, if I have my math right, you would have been 20 years old at the Rome Olympics. I mean, just approaching your peak.
Yes.
I don't even want to say at your peak, because you were at 20 as a male swimmer is not even close to his peak, but you would have been
in those days
than 2 years previous. Yeah.
Correct. But in those days, a male swimmer would peak round about, say, from 24, 25 years of age.
Yeah. I mean, in a perfect life, that would have been your introduction to Olympic Games, and then 4 years later, in '64, you would have been at your peak. I mean, it's
correct.
I guess life doesn't work out always the way you want it to work out. How did you handle that disappointment of not being able? Because, I mean, you must have watched the times. You must have thought, geez, another 4 years and I'd be kicking their butts.
Yes, but, the thing is, I came into swimming, and it was only 2 years before I actually swam at the Commonwealth Games. And soon after the Games, after I got back, a problem started with my knee.
Okay.
And soon after I had the operation. So, that basically, I just, it was a big disappointment. And so, I didn't really carry on. I tried swimming for a while after that. The times, I couldn't achieve the times that I did at the Commonwealth Games. And look, I had a lot of other interests as well. I went to London. Actually, I swam there in London. I swam for our local club there, and I played rugby for Southgate, and I really enjoyed it. And, that sort of took my mind off.
Okay, great. I mean, I look at you now, you still look quite fit to me. And are you doing any sport at the moment? How do you keep fit?
Not really. I don't do any sport as such. Look, I've always been very sort of physically involved in active. I was involved in furniture manufacturing, our family business. And I was, I never worked in the office. I was always in the factory. So I kept myself busy and active all the time. So I didn't really carry on with much sport thereafter, but I kept physically very active. And
okay, and that knee that stopped you from swimming, I hope it's fine now, because medical procedures have improved a lot. Are you all good with the knee?
Yes, it's all well and fine now. No problems.
Oh, that's news.
Basically, okay, I've had both hips replaced. I've had a knee replaced. My shoulders are now, but I think that's also due to, all right, it was in the beginning, all the training that we used to do, and all the swimming, but thereafter in the factory also I did heavy physical work all the years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's caught up with me, and
I,
but I mean,
I
I'm
look at
still
you and there are no regrets. I mean, you would have done the same things, even if you knew you had to have your hips and your knees replaced. I mean, sport is it's just one of those things where while we're doing it, we don't care what the damage is later in life. I can see you're not someone to think back and have regrets.
no, no.
Do you think swimming, and because swimming takes a lot of discipline, and looking at a black line, swimming up and down for 2 or 3 hours in the morning and in the afternoon to reach the sort of times and heights that you have, has that prepared you for discipline and hard work in later life?
Definitely, definitely. But there's just one thing, I mentioned, okay, all the physical efforts that I put into everything. It wasn't, I wouldn't say the swimming caused any problems.
Yeah.
I'd say, I think it was basically the rugby, because you have knocks and falls and tackles and just ankle or whatever. But also all the physical work. Swimming certainly didn't give me any problems, I don't think, for my joints that I've had ops.
just out of curiosity, what position did you play in rugby?
I played prop forward, a support in those days.
Prop forward? I don't believe it.
Yeah.
You look like a flanker or eighth man to me, or even a lock. Yeah.
Yeah, well, in those days, I played a prop.
Can you believe it? Tell me, so after swimming, obviously you went into business. I think a lot of people, well, in those years, they weren't professional sportsmen, so you either trained and worked, or if you probably had very wealthy parents, then you could just swim. But I don't know of anybody who just, you had a normal life. At a certain age, you started working.
Yes.
You mentioned the furniture factory, so your parents involved in the furniture, and you just got involved in that.
Yes, my grandfather actually started the furniture factory, and my father, he sort of carried on with it, and I went in as a grandson, and it was.
And obviously at the age of 18, 19 and 20, when you were training really hard, was there time to sort of get a bit of sleep and not work, or was it, you swim and you work?
No, I wasn't in the factory at that stage. Basically swimming. I only went into the factory when I came back from London in 1991. So I was 21 in those days.
Okay.
And from then on, I went into the factory.
Okay, and your biggest fan, your son, mentioned to me that you got involved in administration of swimming.
Yes, for many years, I think it must have been at least 25 years. I was very involved in the officiating side, as an official. Well, I was a provincial and a national referee. Sometimes we refed, we sort of, there was a whole crowd of us who officiated, and like certain tournaments, we'd swap positions, and everybody sort of rotates. And but I spent many, many years in officiating in swimming. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was also very involved in when we started a swimming club, which was in Randburg, and a lot of the swimmers came from Linden, and a lot from Randburg. So we basically started the swimming club, which is known today as the Linrand Swimming Club.
Okay.
And they're still operating. And I thoroughly enjoyed being involved in swimming. There's also at that Linrand Swimming Club, at that pool, I also one day got an idea, for the club to have its internal swimming championships, and I called it the Linrand Mini Olympics.
There we go.
And and I tell you, it was a major success. And all these little children came, and we bought medals for them, and
well, you've certainly made a contribution on many levels to South African swimming, and thank you for that. I know when we start out as swimmers, it's not about the contribution we make. We love the sport and we just do it because we love it. But a lot of hours, unpaid hours, does go into, especially the officials. And I see now today, I still photograph a lot of swimming. I see Annette Cowley and these, world-class swimmers, Anthony Pierce, Janine Steenkamp, who's now Pierce, with their stopwatches.
Yeah.
And they are now the officials, and people don't even realize how good they were as athletes. So thanks for that contribution. Well, obviously it rubbed off on your kids. Your son is quite an accomplished swimmer himself, or used to swim well.
Yes.
So you obviously inspired him. How was it like to be a dad and have a son competing, and how did you handle the nerves?
Yeah, no, pretty well. And, the thing is, when I was officiating, I was an official. I couldn't be a dad.
Yeah. It does give a bit of distance, and it helps you to calm the nerves a bit when you're not just watching and so focusing on the job at hand. Before we sign off, I believe you've got your Commonwealth medal with you. Would you mind showing it? Please. That's a pretty special piece of jewelry.
It is, yes. This is the medal that I received at the. It's got the. This is the silver medal.
Beautiful.
Which is it's got the 6 British Commonwealth Games medal, and then the other side, it's got it's got my details, my name, and
Well, I'm going to ask your son to photograph that up close, and then we can add it into the video so that people can see that. But I'm so grateful for the time that you've put in as a swimmer, because you obviously were a great advertisement for an ambassador for South African swimming when you went to the Commonwealth Games, you and your sister, so congratulations on that. But thank you for the 20-odd years after that, and obviously being a dad, ferrying your son, so not only your sister, but you probably spent a lot of time next to the pool watching your kids swim. And thank you for your contribution to South African swimming and building the history of a very proud history of South African swimming. We're all grateful for that, and thanks for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate it.
Thijs, it's been such a pleasure and an honor. Thank you very much. I do love the sport, and I've actually, at my age now, I'm not involved in swimming anymore, but I thoroughly enjoyed the time I put back into swimming. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thijs.
Thank you so much, and be blessed and be healthy and stay away from COVID and all these things that's going around, because I think you've still got a massive contribution to make for many years. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Thijs. It's been an honor.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.